We are on. All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Corso Academy with the Canine Academy. And we are with, again, Tony Scandy. Hey, Tony.
How's it going, guys?
Good. And then, of course, myself, Pam Grushak, Whitney Whitaker, and we have our special guest, Joe Church of NWA Corso. I can't believe you're on our show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so excited. Whitney, we're going to actually let you kind of take this over and speak with Joe a little bit.
Yep. Well, welcome, Joe. I'm excited to have you on because I followed you for a while and we've DM'd a little bit back and forth, but I've never had an actual, face-to-face conversation with you. I always wanted to. And so I'm excited to have you on and just kind of hear a little bit more from you. That being said, can you tell me like kind of when you got going in Corsos and kind of how you got your start?
Yes, ma'am. So I've seen the Corso since about 21 years old. I got a cousin in Texas. Many of you guys know him, Lamont Morgan, La Potenza, all his daughters, his wife, everything. I've seen the dogs when I was younger, but I didn't start dabbling in deeply until about 6 years ago. And he's the one that kind of helped me. So I'm not one of them guys that, oh, I've been in 20-something years. No, I didn't. When I opened my business and life settled down and I was able to have time to explore different things, and that's when I got into actually the breeding side of the breed. So I'm a student of the game, probably one of the most well-known students of the game because of the show I have, NWA Cane Corso. For all you guys that want to know what NWA means, I'm not a rapper. It means Northwest Arkansas. So that's where I live now, born and raised in Arkansas. And once I got in and with the Corso, dabbling with it, not long after I started acquiring dogs, Lamont sent me to Tony to pick up a dog. And matter of fact, I picked up one for me and him. And that's how I met Tony about 5 years ago, I think. So yeah, that's pretty much my story in the Corso, the biggest student in the game.
Gotcha. So your drive is just learning from many people as you can, the good and the bad, right?
Oh yeah, you just anybody can tell you before I even started a podcast, I had no admiration of starting a podcast. Period. Anybody can tell you in the Corso world, I asked a lot of questions.
Love it.
I would go to this person, and I would just kind of, because that's kind of how my mind worked. And but one of the things that did trigger me to start the podcast, I would ask all these questions, and I'm a kind of guy that's kind of stay on the run a little bit, real busy guy. And so I like podcasts. I like Joe Rogan. I like, different things like that.
Yeah.
And so about 6 years ago, it was podcasts popping up under the name Corsos. They might not have been Corso breeders, but they knew everything. You would hear Tony name. You would hear all these big breeders' names. And one guy, he even said, yeah, Tony's, I mean, he was talking crap. Tony Scandy, his kennel 10 miles down the road. I said, well, damn, I just left there. It was right in his backyard. So then I started seeing a trend of like misinformation, even in training. We seen a lady took 15K for a dog. She had got violated. I put that way. And she trainer sold her a dog to protect her that wouldn't protect. So we just started having them conversations online, and that's how my podcast.
And that's how your podcast was born. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm so glad to have you on today. And yeah.
Did you have any, before Corso, I know Tony had some dogs, he bred some fish, some snakes, before he got into that, what was your interest in dogs in general?
Well, just coming up as a country boy, a dog was always deemed a necessity for the eyes and ears you didn't have. So it was kind of like a staple coming up in the South to always have a dog. I bred some French Bulldogs. I used to ship over champion Frenchies, not the color dog. It was standard Frenchies. I did those a little bit before the Corso. But yeah, our dog was always a necessity to us.
Yeah, I love it. I have this kind of weird little soft spot for Frenchies.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I used to ship a lot of them over from Miss Lazik and the judge over there in Serbia. So yeah, I got a
Okay.
good relationship with her. Some other breeders over there.
Well,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Very cool. I like to hear kind of the backstories of why you like dogs and why you're here. And your
Right.
mission is kind of, very similar to ours and why we are so excited, to have Tony on. And now, of course, yourself is just to kind of bring some of these conversations to light for people like myself. And even like you said, when you were looking for like Corso information, listening to podcasts, that kind of thing. And there's so much information all over the place. And you kind of don't know where to go. You don't
Right.
know who to believe, what information's right, what information's wrong. So I think we're all kind of on the same mission to bring to light the real information, I
The
guess.
real one. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, and no like holding back and no gatekeeping. And I think that's what I love so much about yourself and Tony. And that's what really immediately made me trust both of you when I talked to you on different times. Um, you weren't holding anything back. Like complete truth.
All out there on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was
Yeah.
great. So I love that we're kind of all on the same mission. Tony, so I haven't heard from you up there for a second. I guess maybe you're over there. I don't know if you guys
You're
watch
good.
it.
You're good.
Yeah. So you met Joe for the first time. He came out to get a puppy from you,
Right.
right? And then you guys kind of started to work together a little bit. And so a lot of people been hearing about Tony, and I had to kind of search Tony myself and kind of found him on a whim, and that's another story. Whitney, you had a relationship with Tony with training the dogs and the Corso, and somebody, the last episode we talked about, he was recommended to you by one of the top canine police handlers, correct? Yeah,
Yes.
Corso.
Yep. Mhm.
But we have to make sure that we remember Joe is one of the first people that got Tony to speak online.
Yeah.
Because we are really, really excited to have Tony himself be able to have his own voice and to get him to be on here because it takes a lot of time and effort, away from what you all are doing. Whitney, yourself, Tony, Joe, to bring this here. So, I just kind of wanted to bring that up too, that Joe was one of the first ones to kind of get Tony to come on. And Tony, you could take it from here. A lot of people have asked you to come on a lot of different shows.
Oh, yeah, tons of people. I mean, I had people that would call me and offer me money, $500, $1,000, just to come on a show, on their YouTube, on their channel, anything to try to get me on. And I wanted no part of it because I knew what their driving force was. It was all with their sales. They wanted me to come on their podcast or their page, you know what I mean? Anything they wanted me to do to drive notoriety to them. And I just wasn't willing to do it. I watched Joe for months and we didn't really do a bunch of business. Like he come up one time, got a dog for him in Lamont. Yeah. And that was really it. And we talked once.
No, I did a breeding with you as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We talked once. Yeah, he came and did a breeding and stuff. But I watched him. I watch everybody quietly. I don't tell people I'm watching them. You know what I mean? I do that with the breeders, and I see who's going to be somebody and who's not going to be somebody. I see with the breeders who's just straight puppy millers and who really has care and compassion about the breed. And then the same thing with the YouTube. I see who really cares about what they're doing. It's not about making money. It's not about blowing up a YouTube channel for cash. And Joe's all that. Joe was the guy, and I talked to him several times. And we're close. We're very close right now. I don't trust a lot of people out there that are doing those kind of things because 98.9% of them, they're not trustable. Unfortunately, they're full of shit. A lot of horrible information, leading people to their breeder buddies that they're getting kickbacks on sales and all the breeds. I know all the game. The game is all out there. Joe don't play games. He doesn't give a shit about anything. He's like me. He's going to say it like it is. And Joe learned by interviewing a lot of people, talking with a lot of people. So, the one day he was talking to me and he was afraid to ask me. Like he didn't even want to ask me. I said, Joe, hey, listen, man, you do those podcasts all the time. You ain't never asked me once. He said, man, I know you don't do that shit. You ain't doing that for nobody. I said, guess what? I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. He's like, what? I said, yeah, I'll do it for you, man, because you're real. I've watched your YouTube for, a good 6 months or whatever, 8 months at the time. And it was no bullshit. It was the reality. He had a couple clowns on accidentally that he brought on and realized real fast, this guy's full of shit. All he's doing is trying to sell his dogs. He doesn't have any clue about history. He doesn't have any clue about temperament or the breed or anything. And he just got rid of him just totally. So he's very careful now. And me and him talked. He would talk to me about some people. And, I'm going to ask him right now publicly, Joe, was I ever wrong about anything I told you about any of the people that you were going to interview, or did I hit it dead nuts?
No, you was 100% right, because the trend was being that you wasn't online and other breeders wasn't online of notoriety. They was gonna besmirch you, or they was gonna use the name to do the thing. And I'm like, a lot of us looking like, dang, you know what I'm saying? You probably weren't even paying attention, but it's been going on for years. But one of the other biggest things that a lot of people don't know is in the urban areas, we got something called a crash dummy. That means somebody who just do anything, not smart, intelligent people can just put a steering wheel in his back and he go.
Right.
The biggest thing about it is a lot of these YouTube channels, a lot of them don't have the knowledge. So a lot of breeders we know.
Right.
Call it the YouTube channel. Oh, blase, such and such, such and such. And it's a real deal. And then that channel goes regurgitated. And then they get nailed. Wow.
Right, real fast.
And if you look at all those podcasts that started up from 2 to 5 years ago, I'm only one that's standing of significance.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
They was built up on straw and lies. You know what I mean?
Built up on bullshit.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Yeah,
right. That's right. The lies and cons. That's it.
Because your bones were good to your show. You had a genuine purpose for doing it.
I'm too old to get on there faking it, and everybody know me. I can't fake it. Yeah. It don't work. It don't work for me. You know.
I always say that. Like, I think all four of us are the same. Like, I don't know how to be anybody but myself.
Yeah.
And it's too hard. Yeah. Too hard.
I always tell people, one thing I always say when we're talking about this is, I've watched some of those. I did watch some. And, even like listening to breeders talk at shows or different people talk, I hear all the lies. I mean, I know when they're lying. It's real simple. They don't have to tell me. They don't have to come over and say, hey, man, I'm full of shit. I'm just trying to make it sell. I know they're full of shit. I know they're full of shit on their podcast. And I know it's all about to these people is making sales and making money and stuff. So here's the thing. Joe don't advertise his kennel. I don't advertise my kennel. We don't have to. You know what I mean? I have my phone rings nonstop. 30 times a day at least on dog. People want puppies. I don't have a website anymore. I let it lapse. Really, it's just Facebook, and it's kind of crazy. I want it to be a little hard for people to find me because you get a lot of these TikTok people and YouTube people, and they just find a dog. It's a fad thing for them. They want to call the first breeder, the first person they see, the first person they get on the phone with, or the first person they see on this Instagram telling them about, oh, I did this and I did that, which is nothing that they've done other than sold a dog for big money and, nothing about the quality or real accomplishments. Somebody paid me, 50 grand. Well, guess what? Somebody paid me 100 grand, but I'm not under bragging about it. I don't use it as a sales thing. It's not what we do, but that's what these guys try to play. And people buy into that dumb shit. A lot of the young kids coming up, it's a lot of young kids. They don't do research. They're, not knocking them, but, and I don't want to say they're not as educated as we are because there's a lot of them more educated than we are. But in the life that they've lived and the trends that they're seeing, Instagram is their go-to, which is the dumbest shit in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it is. In the world to go to Instagram. Yeah. You got to research people.
That's right. Because Tony, one thing about it is you see these guys, they got 200, 300,000 subscribers. And a lot of times they bought. They fake.
Right.
Look at the numbers. Look at my small show and go look at those same shows.
Right.
Look at the comment section. Look at the views. Just watch them from start to finish. You can tell when they got these foreign companies they can pay.
Paying for them, right? Paying.
Yeah. You can tell when the videos have flopped. And the other thing is, but it makes a big image.
Right.
So you actually got dudes out here that really don't know anything about the dogs, selling dogs for $8,000 to $15,000 because they in a celebrity status in these people.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's how it goes.
It's almost like that FOMO. Like some people see you and then they got to get somebody from that person. But there is a little bit to that Instagram. I guess image. It's more people go to Instagram now than they do websites.
That's right.
I mean, for anything, they're going to see if you have an Instagram, and it goes like Facebook. For the most part. So there's a little bit to it, but if you have like quality stuff up, then, but that's, I think, again, that's kind of to my point is like, we're just happy that Tony, you are on here and giving, your presence because again, it just takes time. And with the information part, we kind of wanted to talk about what we all have kind of talked about off camera is the difference of temperaments of Corso. There's a lot of talk that I see again as a new Corso, somebody new to Corso, new Corso owner, different temperaments and how the Corso should be. And Joe, I know you've talked a little bit about people speaking about like the old school Corso or whatever that means. So I kind of wanted to talk about that. Maybe Whitney, what you've seen from a training aspect. And then we can let these guys talk a little bit about the temperament, what it's supposed to be, why is it all over the board, and why are there so many opinions on the temperament of a Cane Corso?
Yeah, yeah. You guys are probably seen that post going around too, or it's like talking about old school like genetics. You guys seen it that the dogs, like pulling the carts and going after the wild boar and all of that. So I think it's hard because like when I get average dog owners, they come in here and they see that stuff. They think that the temperament of the Corso should be, should it be like that? Should it be like a Malinois trapped in a Corso body? Should it be, real harsh and fierce or, and then they got me over here saying, well, this is the character of the of a Corso or, they get on Instagram or TikTok and it's like, there's so many differing opinions. And I would like to hear from the two of you, what you think the temperament of a modern day Corso should be for an average family pet owner. Let's start there. For an average family pet owner, somebody that's not doing sport work and stuff like that, what do you think the character should be?
You want to go first, Joe? You want to?
I will. I'm like this on that because I've covered so many breeders and breeds that if you're going to be hog hunting, it's like a lot of that goes down in the South, or if you going into a sport with it, I would probably tend to go to a breeder that's doing those things. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, I think a Corso should be a Corso. I mean, it should have a solid temperament, loving around the family, kind of have natural guard instincts. I mean, I don't want nobody to walk right past my dog. He don't bark. He don't alert me. He don't do anything. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I know it's different subcultures in dogs. So I just say if whatever you're looking for, look for the breeder that's doing it. Tony, he can give you a way better answer than that, I'm sure.
So all right. So as far as temperament and stuff, like I said, I've been doing this 37 years. I've seen it all. I've seen everything. There's nothing I didn't see. I've seen people bring a dog here that they've gotten from other breeders that, want to know if I can rehab it. And it was so sketchy and scared to death of its own shadow that, when it was put in the kennel, when I went out to the kennel 2 hours after they left it here, after it already dove back and hid in the corner, dove in the doghouse. When I came out the second time, just to walk back to just, talk to a little bit, try to, work its confidence up. It hit the corner of the fence in the cage, and I have 10 by 20s, not 10 by 10s or 5 by 10s like most people. I got monster kennels, 10 by 20 every single kennel, and it's huge. It's a ton of room for the dogs. That dog ran back to the corner of the kennel and was trying to crawl over it, and as it was trying to crawl over it, it was projectile shitting diarrhea in fear. That's genetic.
Yeah.
It's not a problem with the people. A lot of these breeders blame the people and their upbringing. These breeders throughout this country, and a lot of them have been around even a long time, they know damn well that they're breeding unstable dogs, mentally unstable dogs. Any of that shit with fear and timidity is not a Corso. It's not the word aloof with strangers. That doesn't, they use the word to cover that up. They keep it in the standard to cover that shit up. In Italy or in any other country, if you said aloof with strangers, they'd be looking at you like, what's wrong with you? This is a Corso. They ain't supposed to be scared of shit, aloof with nothing, I mean, the word aloof is taken out of context, like some people I say, hey, you know what? The word aloof isn't a bad thing for some of the old school stuff, but that word aloof meant that this dog, you come around that dog's house, or to my yard, and the dog was there. He's, oh, okay, some new people. I really don't give a shit if you pet me. I don't give a shit if I come over by you. I'm chill over here with my family. I really don't care if you're around me. I ain't scared of you for shit. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to go light your ass up for no reason. But, you know, I'm stoic. I'm just here. I'm doing my job. And my owner wants me to come see you. I'll come see you. And my owner wants me to let you pet me. I'll let you pet me because I have no fear of you. But I really don't. I'm not going to get up and go run over and wagging my butt and everything and want all pet. That's not what they were. That was an old school type of dog that was justifiable for the word aloof. What these people nowadays do is they use the word aloof to cover up when they send people dogs and they're scared to death of their own shadow. It's funny as hell. I still see some of the breeders today that've been around a long time, and they post pictures of their dog. I got this great dog, this great stud dog, this great bitch. And the most common thing you see in the lines, and Joe, you probably can see it. Whitney, you probably understand it. Pam, you might not yet because you're new, but you'll start to understand it with us. The first thing you see in these pictures is the dog being choked up, and as soon as you look at it, you know where the tail's at, right? Slaying their ass.
Yeah, you actually taught me that right away. You taught me that to kind of see the difference with the puppies, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, that's straight fear, that's straight timidity, and that doesn't just happen as they get older. That's there when these dogs are born. It doesn't go away, you know.
So when you say aloof, so you can that you're talking about again,
the dog still better be real confident.
This is in the standard written, like the AKC standard, dog standard. Yeah. It says that the dog is aloof. So that's kind of what you're breaking down for us. Is what it actually
really aloof is.
Okay.
Yeah. And aloof is not petrified. Aloof is not scared. Any dog that could be classified as aloof still better be confident as hell, fearless of anything, and that tail better be up with no fear or timidity. When you see I seen a picture the other day, laughing my ass off, and within the time I saw it, I had 5 other breeders sending me this shit, laughing their asses off. Hey man, you see this clown? Look at it. The most common thing, and the most consider what's the word called? Most common and most dominant trait in their lines is this fear aggressive shit. You know, this fear stuff with their tail slammed. It's the most consistent in their lines. Is all the tails are slammed on their shit. It's lack of confidence. And, you know, and now I hate to say that on here because now I'm going to mess it up for everybody. They're not going to be able to catch that anymore because now these people are going to be holding their tail up. You know what I mean? They're going to be standing their dogs and holding their tail up, pulling it up, with, put some glue on their fingertips so it can't go down. You know what I mean? So they're like, man, he just exposed all of us. You know, now they know what to look for in photos. Look for it in photos.
You have to. To your point.
I hate to say it because they're going to hide it now, but
they're going to put a little fish line on the tail and pull it up so nobody can see.
I tell people, ask for videos. You know,
I was going to say, our average dog owners, they need to be getting a little savvier and say, can I get some videos?
Yeah, show me a video with your dog with some strangers walking in, not with you and your family in the back, with some strangers walking in, taking them out of your backyard.
Yeah.
How does he act now? Because some of them ones that will act decent in the backyard with their kids and with strangers, not so much. But when you take those dogs, like I know people that have bought dogs from some of these breeders as young adults and drove down the street and the dog was making noises, shit itself, fearful. They go to try to get it out of the cage and it's back against the wall in fear, pushing away. And then, if they try to reach in there, eventually it'll snaps at them. It's called fear aggression. It's the worst type of aggression in the world. It's fear aggression. I'd rather have a cocky dominant dog. You know what I mean?
100%.
Some of the old school stuff way back years ago when we're talking about temperaments. Let's talk about some of the old school stuff. I'm talking 30-some years ago.
Right.
There was no fear. There was some shit that was so hardcore that they would put you in their place. And, I hate to say that. But, I had a dog one time named Daniel, another one named Drago. And these dogs were just great temperament, cocky as hell. I mean, their tails didn't know how to go down. There's nothing. You could have set a bomb off next to them, and I think they go and try to attack the bomb. But they weren't people aggressive. They weren't fearful. They were just that dog that was just cocky as anything in the world and would light your ass up. I remember one time we were in my backyard kicking this big Incredible back and forth, this big giant. Joe, remember them big Incredibles? They were indestructible.
Oh, yeah.
Big giant thing. We kick it back and forth. You had to kick it with, steel toe boots, and you can't cook it with tennis shoes or you break your toe. But you kick it back and forth playing, let the dog chase it around. I remember the one dog, Drago, he was so intelligent and so smart. That was his ball, and we wanted to let him show the people him moving and shit. And he's running to go get it, and then he's running back to me. I kicked it once. My buddy Corey kicked it back. I kicked it back again. And on the third kick, when he kicked it back to me, I went to go kick it. He's, oh, no, we ain't kicking it. He come right at me. He said, no. He jumped right up at me like, no, that's mine. And he figured it out that fast that we're not going to play the kick anymore. I'm taking that. It's mine. And gave me the look like, I dare you to kick it again. I dare you to kick it and play me like a dumb monkey in the middle. I ain't the monkey in the middle. Give me my ball. Right. That's how hardcore they were. You know what I mean? Even Armani, which was a dog that was, one of the top dogs in the world ever in history to today. I wish I could repeat that dog and have him again. That dog's pictures of him, laying in the covers with kids and, neighbors and cousins and half the baseball team, the kids, I'd have them all over all the time. Stable as hell. But if somebody attempted to come around that house or break in that house, they could lose their life. You know what I mean? It was a different type of dog, but so cocky even back then. I didn't use him a ton because of how cocky he was. I knew that's not the average dog you can put into a family home. I could control it. You know what I mean? I'm a trainer too. You're a trainer. You guys could control it. But, he was even a little dog aggressive sometimes. So before big dog shows, I have to take him on the kennel and work to set up a show ring in my house, correct him and let him know, man, we're not going to do this, dog. You got some shit. I don't care how cocky you are. Your chest is out. You're going to put it back in place. And, it took some corrections, letting him know. And, you can't go to a certain level, because, there's a breaking point. Some dogs you correct a little too hard. There's a breaking point where you ruin them. They're done. Yeah. They're just going to cower. You ruined them. There's people and there's trainers who ruin dogs all the time. There's a threshold. Well, Armani's threshold and dogs like Drago and Daniel's threshold,
much higher.
It wasn't that you ruin them. Yeah. They're going to take so much, and I remember one time correcting Armani because he was not having it. He wanted to be dog aggressive to Giorgio, which these were two monster top stud dogs in my kennel. And I gave him a little hard one, and I know it was a little hard on a 1 to 10. I probably went on an 11 because he wasn't quitting. I gave him an 11, and he gave a little growl, and he looked up at me and looked in my eyes, and I was like, oh, shit, okay, I got you. He checked me, and there was no more correction after that. I was scared to death to take a step, and it was my own dog. And I was like, come on, big man, let's go. And we just went walking, and my heart was pounding, you know what I mean? Like, please, man, please, I messed up. I went a little too hard. You're not going to break stuff like that. Nowadays, even the stuff that these people out there are saying is all hardcore and tough, and you hit them with an 11 or 12 correction on a 1 to 10, you're ruining the dog. They don't have nothing like that anymore.
They carry right down.
Yeah. I don't care what country it's from. Now we got a lot still, and I still have them. They're going to take they're going to take an 8 or 9 correction. And those are great dogs. I have other friends that have those type of dogs. So that's another aspect of temperament of old school. That's not acceptable in this day and age. You can't have that. Nobody can use that. You can't breed it for a specific, you get, say, 5 people that want it. You get a litter as a 10, 8 to 10, 8 to 12. Who are you going to send the other puppies to?
Right.
There ain't homes for them. So, so that's another aspect of temperament. Temperaments that we saw back in the day. And Joe, you've probably seen it. Whitney, I know you've seen hundreds of them. Just skittish as hell, fearful, timid. It's not acceptable. That's sorry for my phone. It'll go nonstop, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not acceptable, those kind of temperaments. On what the course, so should be. Well, let me get into that after. So another thing that you're talking about, Whitney, that's going around, that post that's going around, I know what you're talking about. It's a Paulo Breber thing. That's what you're talking about, correct?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah.
Joe, you've seen it. And here's the crazy thing. 2 very good friends of mine are some of the guys that shared that also. And nothing wrong with those guys because those guys are well aware, like me and them guys have talked. They're breeding for that type. They want that type of character. That's what they want to breed for. My thing, just like I explained to them, was it a Corso? Is that a Corso? Yeah, no, it's a Corso. It's a Corso that was needed 50 years ago. You know what I mean? Or when the war times were going on, when, on the farms in Italy, it's not a Corso that's needed now. Like if you put that stuff in people's hands, these guys are solid. Those guys I'm friends with are going to take their dogs back. And I told them, you better set up 10, 20 kennels to have those dogs that come back because they're going to come back because you can't put them in a normal family. It's way too much dog. They will do some damage to the house. You want a Malinois, go get a Malinois. We don't need Corsos with Malinois characters. It's too much dog. Mostly everybody in the country is selling these dogs to average families, and I know that there was mention of a couch potato and some of that has mentioned towards my line. My line ain't couch potatoes, I assure you that. My dogs will work their ass off.
I got 3 dogs here from your line that will run circles if they need to.
There's a difference between the word couch potato and mentally stable and confident and fearless. and stoic. I'm not interested in a dog that's going to be jumping over my couch or running through my living room to the family room, doing circles 40 times because it has to, because that's the demeanor of that dog. There's nobody out there hunting hogs and hunting wild boar.
Yeah.
Nobody doing that shit that Paulo Breber explained. So in my opinion, and it's my opinion, I've told this to my good friends, there isn't a place for those dogs. If they're telling me that they have clients that want them, but my opinion is anybody breeding that type of stuff is going to be taking a lot of replacements back, or they're going to be sticking a lot of people with some dogs and they're going to start filling up rescues. Those can't be put out in rescue. If those dogs don't have assertive trainers and are in professionals' hands, they're coming back. So, I don't like that type of dog either. That's just me. Is there a place where some people like it? They do, and that's their thing. I can't knock that. We're not going to knock that type of dog. But you're asking me about temperament in society. It's not a temperament for society in 2025. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know I don't get a call from a person that would want anything like that. And even Mike Caparici, which is another trainer I work with, Whitney, he does all the protection dogs. You met Mike, you talked to Mike multiple times. He wouldn't take those dogs from me for free. I couldn't give them to him because he would go off on me. Hey man, what the hell did you sell me? I'm trying to put dogs in family homes, and you put this thing that it's like it's got an energy, 4 Energizer batteries in it, and it won't stop. You know what I mean? It don't even want to sleep at night. It can't sleep 8 hours on a full night, and it's wants up at 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. to go outside and go run around circles because it's that amped up. Yeah. If people are out there that want that, so be it. It's not a problem. But do I feel that should be the temperament of the Corso in this day and age? I don't ever feel that should have been the temperament of the Corso. You know what I mean? In any day and age. And I wouldn't breed it myself. That doesn't mean anybody else can't breed it. If some of these people have those clients, and like I said, 2 of the people, and I'm not going to name names, I trust them very much. One of them is very close to me. I know he'll stand behind everything. In my opinion, they're going to change up in the next 2 years once they start getting overloaded with dogs coming back, because the people that they're selling to can't handle those dogs. Like
too high a drive is what you're saying?
Way too much drive. Yeah. It's like a Malinois. You know what I mean? It's just, it's not going to work out. So what do I think the ideal temperament is? Just like the standard reads, you know what I mean? Other than the Guadalupe Strangers. And when I say the standard, I'm talking about the FCI standard, that the standard that's used internationally, not just our standard. But stability, cocky, confident, fearless, but not amped up and not wired for sound. Something that still could be a family dog, with your family in your home, that you can take, like you guys, like Pam, you take your dog to the soccer games, baseball games. That there's nothing couch potato about that. In your houses, none of your dogs ain't the dog I got in the family home that's a couch potato that just sits and lays on the couch. And for one, I don't allow dogs on couches, and I tell everybody that gets one from me, you don't allow them on couches, because that lets them become an alpha, and it's a lack of training when you're doing that anyway. And most of the people that even these guys sell dogs to, they're going to let them on couches sometimes. It happens. Doesn't mean they're a couch potato. So no, I would never breed for a couch potato type of dog. I breed a dog. I like to say it sometimes like me. I want to be like I am, and like Joe. I know Joe's the same damn way I am. We ain't cocky, but we ain't scared of shit. We're not scared of anything. You know what I mean? If the challenge comes, let's just handle it. There's no fear. There's no ignorance. There's no intimidation. I love everybody. I get along with everybody. But if you cross my path and you threaten towards my way, we got an issue. We got a problem. And 9 out of 10 times, I'm going to come out the winner. That's the type of dog I want to breed.
Right. Yeah, stable. Yeah, go ahead, Whitney.
Stoic. You used a good word, stoic.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a great word to describe the breed.
I got a question for Whitney and you, Tony. Within that standard that the dog is described in, does the people that's doing sports, is that dog fitted there too? Do you think the dog should be like?
You know what? Here's the thing. Like, all of our dogs, you have dogs from me. You have dogs. You've seen all the lines. Every dog I own could go do a sport. Like, I don't have a dog that we breed that couldn't go do sports. That couldn't go do Schutzen. That couldn't go do, canine, or what's it called? French ring. They couldn't go do these sports. But here's the catch: as a breeder, it's our job as a breeder. When I get people to call for that all the time. I mean, I have Schutzen title dogs out there. Majority of these people that are talking about that and we're going to breed this and we're going to push that, they ain't done shit. They don't have a title dog for anything. There's not one working title between all of these people, and they don't have a customer that bought a dog from them that has a working title. There's nothing out there. So at some point, you know, like you won't even say that's just a game or another new game for people to use to sell their dogs. Well, mine are superior because of this reason. There's nothing superior about dogs like that. So do you need those type of dogs to go do Schutzen, French ring and stuff? No, you don't need those type of dogs because our stuff has plenty of drive, plenty of character for that. And Whitney will tell you, and Joe, you can see it, but Whitney, you've seen many dogs where I've showed you here in my own kennel. Here's the character. Here's what this will do. Here's what that would do. There's some dogs here that I wouldn't pair together because they would be more too much pushing that border. But if I had 10 people that wanted a Schutzen dog or French ring, any of those things, then okay, you know what? I'm going to put these two together. They're going to be a little bit over the edge for the average people. But even if I only have 5 sold to families that want this, that want to go compete and do it, I'm going to get 5 other families that are going to be okay to let that get to because it's not over the edge. You know what I mean? It's not over the top. It's still mentally sound and mentally stable. It's not going to get amped up like a Malinois or some of these other dogs will do, because in reality, in my opinion, when dogs get amped up to that level, their brain's gone. They can't do it. There's no dogs out there that can get amped up to those levels and think 100%. That's one of the reasons why you'll see a lot of the Malinois, even with the police and stuff, they bit people. They've bitten people on accident. They're too amped up. Remember, I think I told you guys a story on the last episode, we talked about Tito, or Whitney talked about Tito. And I told him he was a Corso that I bought from Italy. We paid 15 grand for him, me and Jim Wolf. I didn't get him till like 7 months after we bought him. He stayed in Italy, and the agreement was when I bought him, you have to pay half now, pay half later, and he's going in front of the police department out there in Italy to prove that the Corso can be a police dog. And that type of dog was like your Rottweiler police type dog. You know what I mean? You're more stable. Your Shepherds, the more stable. And when we talk about temperament and breeds, here's the crazy thing, and you guys are all going to be able to understand this, and every person watching this is going to be able to understand this. This is something that people, and maybe people didn't even understand it, but when I say this, they're going to go look at me like, damn, this guy's right again. You know, it's nothing that I'm always right, but I'm educated because this is what I do. This shit's been my life for 40 years, not just 30-something years. It's been my life. So there's a lot of Rottweilers out there that you'll see. All right, that you'll see that some of them have these great temperaments. They can be in a family and still protect. Then there's other Rottweilers out there you'll see doing French ring and doing Schutzen. It ain't the same dog for all the people. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you'll see Rottweilers that are, you know, look terrible. Their temperaments are unstable. They're mentally unstable. People breeding unstable dogs. Same thing in our breed. They're all over the spectrum. People think a Rottweiler is Rottweiler. You're going to have it all over the spectrum. You better do your research in that breed. Shepherds. You're going to see Shepherds that are out there with insane drive, totally insane, you know, close to a Malinois, something that nobody can utilize. But, you know, you're 2% of the population, you know what I mean, that's looking to do some work. Then you'll see Shepherds that are mentally sound, just like the dogs that we want breed and that I preach. It'll happen with Doberman Pinschers, same thing. So in my opinion, all breeds, all working breeds, it doesn't matter if it's a Corso, a Rottweiler, a Doberman, you know, any of these working breeds, they all should have this damn near close to the same temperament to go in a family home and be stable and be able to protect and still be able to be trusted, not insane like a Malinois. You know what I mean? Like I always tell people, if you want a Malinois, that's the breed to go get. But I've warned my friends and family that have wanted them and they all got them. And they all got rid of them. And they didn't last 6 months or 4 months. And they destroyed their homes and destroyed their yards. And just, they're like, you know, Tony, can you help me train it? I'm like, what do you want me to help you train, man? Well, can you send me to your trainers? Hell no, I'm not doing that to them.
I couldn't see myself asking for a Corso that acted like a Malinois.
You ain't ready. Sure. People are ready for that shit. You know what I mean? It's just nobody. So when I say that that's limited to 2% of the population, it might be 1% of the population.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
right. I don't care if that's what people think it was or Paulo Brewer said it was 40 years ago. I'm not breeding for that shit. There's no purpose for it. And
there's no demand is what you're saying. And that's kind of where you said maybe these breeders will change along the way.
They will change.
There's less demand.
There's no maybe. Mark this words on this episode. Everything I always say is going to happen in the future. I can dictate and tell people how a breeder's program is going to turn out. My nephew, Anthony Belfast, we'll get him on here one day. I tell him all the time when people come out, I'll tell them exactly where they're going to be, where they're going to end up. and what's going to be their path in the next 2 or 4 years. And he'll look at me, he'll be like, dude, how in the hell did you know that? You said exactly what was going to happen. And it happened exactly faster than you said it was. I'm like, I've been doing this 37 years.
Yeah.
It's my life, morning, noon, and night. So when I say that those people are going to change, they're going to change. They're not going to have.
Tony, you're 100% right, because I hear it. I know the guys who want like the per se hot dogs, and when they done bred these things together, man, I got customers calling me, man. You gotta try to get help from trainers. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
they're going to call them like crazy in all breeds. They're going to come back.
I have a question then.
Those they can't do anything with. They don't know what they're doing with them.
They don't know
how to train them. They're not doing nothing with them. And I don't want to say, like, some of my friends, they're really mentally think that that's the okay thing. They're not doing it just to promote sales. Other people are doing that just to be their little sales gimmick, their little sales tactic.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's their sales thing. Unfortunately, in this and all breeds, it's a business to most everybody out there, and they're going to do what they got to do to set themselves ahead. The positive thing about myself and what I like about myself and what like Whitney and Pam like, and even you, Joe, I don't give a shit if I sell a dog to anybody or not. I'm pretty financially set. I'm okay with finances. I don't need the money. And I tell people all the time, I don't care if you buy a dog from me or you don't. I can give a shit less, because my phone rings nonstop every day. They're going to get into homes, and they're going to get into good homes. So, when I'm giving information, I'm giving truthful information. I'm going to give factual information. And what I want, and I want all three of you guys to know, the only reason I'm even here on these things, all three of you guys had a part of me getting on here finally. All three of you. I did not want to do this shit, but I keep seeing this shit, and you guys keep telling. Joe, you told me for what, over a year, 2 years? You've been telling me. Whitney, you've been telling me for 5 years. Pam, you just got in, and you're telling me, like, why don't you do this? Why don't
I said, we're doing this. We're getting you on here.
Right.
You guys pushed and pushed, and hey, listen, you guys were giving me deadlines, and like, listen, you got to do it by then, and you got to do it by then. I'm like, listen, let my daughter get back in school. Once my daughter's back in school, get through this fair stuff, I'll get caught up finally in life. This baseball that I coach slows down with these kids. No boxing events going on. You'll get my time.
So why are you here? What made you finally agree to? I've been begging you for 5 years. I've been begging you for 5 years, and obviously Joe, and then Pam. But why?
Here's the reason I'm here. Here's the reason I'm here, and I've already heard some stuff from other people, other breeders. Oh, he's only doing that shit so he can sell dogs. I don't I sell dogs. I don't have puppies now. I got 4 litters on the way. They're all going to be sold. I'm not advertising any of them. It doesn't matter. So that's not my mission. That's not why I'm here. I'm here for the reason that all of you guys said that I need to be here, to help educate all of the new people, especially that are being misinformed by a bunch of uneducated new breeders out there that are just doing this to solicit and for money, to make money, to educate people. And it's not to hurt those people. Here's the thing. No. What I hope happens to all those people that I'm talking about, it makes them step their shit up and breed better dogs, because those people are going to be the destruction of this breed. This breed will end up on a breed ban list because of these people out there. You want to get in and make money? I don't care if you make $1 million. You'll hear me say this all the time. Make $1 million. I don't care. Better the breed as you're doing it. Don't just mass produce and breed anything that bleeds and anything got 4 legs and it walks, because that's what these people do. There's a lot of times where I've been doing this shit for years where I put dogs down that other people would sell for 10 and 15,000. Why? Why'd you put it down? You could have sold it to somebody. Somebody would have paid you. You could have gave it to somebody, got half litters back, took half the money. You guys are pyramid schemes is what you guys are. That's not what it's about. That genetic of that dog, the mentality of that dog, needed taken out of a breeding program, period.
Yeah.
They don't care, so I'm here to help those people in the same essence. I love this breed, 37 years in this breed. I'm here to help the breed. Educating all these people, educating breeders is going to help the breed, period.
Yeah, just like I said when I went to the vet the other day, and my vet sat down, I said, I wish I would have had a camera. Whitney, I told you this, and Tony, and he just sat down with Baymax, and he's loving him up, and he's kissing on him, and he stands up, and he just, out of just complete innocence, says, this is such a great representation of this breed. He said, I have, he's like, sad to say, we don't see him like this. And he said, this is the nicest Corso I've ever seen. And I said, well, it worked a long time to get this dog, and I, explained who you were and,
Right.
your mission in it, and, and he's just like, "Man, this is so great to see."
Right.
And it was just
Yep.
such a candid moment of, like, the reality, and that is, that's the mission, I think, of all of us here,
Yep.
Right.
is
Yep.
to try to
Absolutely.
get back to that, and like you said, that sound temperament, I kinda wrote down, summed it up.
Hey,
Stoic,
Pam,
confident.
before you
Yeah.
go on, can
Mhm.
I add to that? Because you said something that was similar to what my wife dealt with going to the vet. Um, we had a vet tech break down crying in the room because we knew something was wrong. And she was like, you know how somebody's trying to gather
Mhm,
themselves?
mhm.
And we didn't know she was so scared that Corsos had so many bad issues with Corsos. When she got to ours, it was that one I got from you off Renegade, Tony.
Okay. Okay.
That she sit there in front of that dog face and started crying and said, "This has been it helped her because she's had so many bad
Aw.
experiences dealing with Corsos that dog was sitting there stable, let her touch on her and all that. She was in tears.
Yeah.
That
Right.
yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, it makes sense. Veterinarians and vet techs, they're petrified worldwide
Uh-huh.
of
Oh,
the
yeah.
Corso, and
Yep.
that's the fault of these breeders that I'm talking about.
Hmm.
That's their fault.
Mhm.
Uh,
I had vets turn me down
right. Yeah.
before I
Yep.
got him, and I have had training facilities, like to do group stuff and get them, to help practice show him. They
Right.
wouldn't take him. They
Right.
wouldn't take
Right.
us.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. People don't want a part of them because of what these people have done with them. Instead of bettering the breed as they're going along, it's just mass produce and make $1 million is all they care about. They don't care about that stuff. I want to be doing this till I'm 100 years old. Hopefully, I live that long and can still walk. If I can, I'm still doing this. I love the breed, so I'm going to try to always better the breed. Try to push everybody else to do the same thing. We want a future with the breed. Those people out there are going to put this breed on a breed ban list faster than any breed's been on a breed ban list because of their ignorance and their greed, and that's all it's about. So, like the story that Joe's talking about, you talking about at your vet, this has happened to me multiple times. I've taken a deposit from a client, and I said, listen, get a hold of your vet. Try to get them into your vet 3 days. I mean, a week. I don't care. Contract says 3 days. I just want them to get the dog to their vet, just so the vet can say, hey, it's a healthy dog. Everything's perfect. I mean, it's already been seen my vet. I know it's a healthy dog. That part of a contract also kind of covers a breeder's ass, because if you take it to your vet in 2 months, and I've had it happen one time. Client took a dog to a vet in 2 months. It might even have been 4 months. Well, hey, this dog is malnourished. He's not being fed right. What breeder did you get him from? I was the bad guy. They called me. I said, oh, ho, ho. You're at the vet still? They're like, yes. Put yourself on speaker with the vet. Put yourself on speaker with the vet. I said, listen, how many times a day have you been feeding this dog since I sent you the dog, and how much you feed? Well, I feed exactly what the bag says. The bag says, 1.25 cups, 1.25 cups a day. And, that's what it says to feed. I'm like, stop. We don't even have to discuss any further of why your dog looks malnourished. You've had it for 2 months or 4 months or whatever it was, and you've been feeding 1.25 a day. That's for an adult of that weight. You have a puppy that's 15 pounds and it's growing, or it's not going to grow. You have to give these dogs more. You have to feed 3 times a day. And I told you all this when you left here. Yeah, but the bag said this. Well, the bag knew more than I knew. I'm sorry. You didn't pay attention to the bag.
They
The
didn't read
bag
the fine
said this
print that says,
Right.
if
3
it's a
times a
puppy,
day.
feed it 3 times as
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I've had different things with the vets happen. One of the biggest things I have with the vets happen is, so when I get the deposit, they call and they set up that appointment. They call me back. Hey, listen, Tony, I got some really bad news. I don't know what to do. I said, what's up? What's wrong? I really want a Corso, but my vet said, I do not think that's the breed for you. We've seen a lot of those, and those dogs are extremely dangerous. They're very unstable and this and that. And, he told me not to get one. I said, well, he told you the truth. And they're like, what do you mean he told me the truth? You're trying to sell me this dog. So I said, listen, here's the deal. He told you the truth, or she told you the truth of what they're dealing with and what they see. Here's what I can tell you. I assure you that if you get my pup and you bring it into that vet, your vet's going to tell you that this is like Whitney, you said it last week, a breed within a breed. This isn't the same as what we're used to. This puppy's incredible health-wise, structure-wise, looks like a show dog, acts like a show dog. The temperament, they're going to be blown away. If you want to take your pup still, I promise you can take it. If you take it and your vet doesn't agree with me or tell you that, I have 10 other people behind you that are waiting on puppies. I'll give your money back on your shipping so you don't lose anything, and we'll ship it right to the next person. But I assure you that's not going to happen. You promise you'll give me the deposit back. I said, I'll give you every dime back. The deposit you're getting back, you're getting everything, and I'm going to pay your shipping. Well, you would lose the $500 or $600 for the shipping? I said, absolutely. Why would you do that? Because I'd love to see your family get a Corso, and I'd love more than that to see your vet realize that there are Corsos that are stable, that are well bred. Because what's going to happen is your veterinarian, guess what your veterinarian is going to do? He's going to get my name and want my card. And everybody that comes in that wants one, guess who they're going to call? Tony Scandy. You know how many calls I get from worldwide, from veterinarian recommendations from this? My vet told me you're the only person I'm allowed to get a dog from. It has to be you. Do you have anything right now? You know, and I put them on a waiting list. That's one of the other reasons why I don't have to advertise. You know, I've been doing this 30-something years, and there's 30-something years of incredible dogs out there that people have got, the veterinarians have referred. So the same thing you guys are experiencing at your vet, they're telling you the truth, and that's what they've seen with the breed before. And then they see these dogs that are mentally sound, mentally stable, totally trustable, and they know it's like this is a breed within a breed. It's not just a breed within a breed. It's a breed that was for 30-something years. I continued to breed better and better and better and better, and I'm going to still continue to be better and better. There's never a standstill. There's never a not striving for better. Some people make the comment, "Can't get any better." If you think you can't get any better in anything, whether it's breeding dogs, whether it's playing football, playing baseball, boxing, I'm still doing shit at 56 years old. I told my trainers, I'm getting better and better than I was 5 years ago when I started back up. I feel pretty damn good right now. I'm getting in there with guys that are young guys that are animals in the ring. You know what I mean? And I'm holding my own. And they're telling they're going to the trainers, man, that old man can crack, man. That dude can hit me. Good, man. He's really good. But it's work. So with dog breeding, it's the same shit as anything else. You're always going to continue to get better and better and better. What I had 10 years ago, I'm beyond what I had 10 years ago now. You know what I mean? I got a dog right now at the vet getting a pen hip done. He's badass. I think he's one of the best things that I've done. I've got to leave here and pick him up in a little while. But I think he's just something that's going to set me to another level as soon as this guy starts getting worked into the program. It's always get better and better. Joe, you know it, and you do it with all the dogs that you breed. It's always getting better and better and better. There's no still. Whitney, you've seen the differences in even like some of the looks and some of the types, but you're still getting the great solid temperament. You know what I mean? So it's the way everybody should be breeding dogs to get better and better and better. The veterinarian things is just, it's a plus to see that. And that, people might say, oh, he's just greedy. He only does that with these vets so he can sell dogs. I don't give a shit if they buy one from me or not. It's bettering the breed. It's making veterinarians realize, no, hey, listen, don't stereotype this breed and say that a Cane Corso is a horrible dog. I would never get one. Figure it out. It's just like any other breed. A shepherd, trust me, that veterinarian has dealt with Rottweilers that tried to attack him.
Yeah,
Fearful and skittish. Had dealt with shepherds that done the same thing. Boxers that done the same shit. Dalmatians, poodles, Chihuahuas, but because they're little and they can't do serious damage, the vet doesn't have nothing to say about them. Well, yeah, you can get a Rottweiler. Well, because you've seen 500 Rottweilers and only 50 of them were unstable. The other 450 were great. The Corso's a rare breed. You've seen 20 of them and 20 of them were unstable. Well, were percentages, if I send you one and it's great stable, the percentages of that are better than the percentages of a Rottweiler Shepherd or something too, because it can happen in any breed. It's the breeders behind the dogs that make and create what you're going to have and what you're going to work with.
Yeah. So you're saying, it's not their fault that they feel that way, but it's kind of our job to get them out there. And you and Joe, you're breeding these dogs for what your standards is, what you're saying. Stoic, confident, family dog. On my end, when I was looking for
a work still. I was go to work.
I was looking for a serious dog, not a golden retriever, because that's not what I wanted. And that's what people need to remember too. Like, you're not breeding a Corso to be a lab. If you want a lab, get a lab. But you have to understand what the Corso is, and that we still train them. I signed up with Whitney before I had the dog. And to make sure that I knew everything I needed to go into as a new Corso.
Right.
So but you still have to start with that solid dog.
Yeah. Now, here's the nice thing with you saying that. So every one of the dogs that you guys have, the dog that you have, Pam, the dogs that you have, Whitney, the dogs you have, Joe, you guys are all confident as hell. You don't have to go train them to do bite work and stuff. But I bet you know that your children or your family or your house is protected no matter what. And those are the same dogs you're taking places in their stable. Joe, will your dog that you got light somebody up if there was a problem? Somebody try to break in or mess with your kids?
Yeah, but they're intelligent enough. I'll give you a scenario, right? So one time we was at the soccer game. I got a female named Zeta. She let it. I walked away. My wife and my daughter, probably was a baby at the time.
Okay.
She let all the kids come up and pet her.
Okay. Okay.
Even the women.
Right.
One man walked up.
With that, yep.
She didn't go attack the man.
Right. Just let them know. Let them
know.
Right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Absolutely. Knew the situation.
Right.
He wasn't supposed to be around. There too many kids and the wife. So yeah, that's mental stability. Not going to attack out of no reason. Going to let them know. Back it up a little bit. And
so
that's
I had a couple come here the other week. And took them to the yard over here on this side. Let a couple dogs out, and the lady had maybe like a 4 or 5 month old baby, and she was holding him. One of my males just came up and licked the baby on the feet.
Right, yeah.
Sitting down and just being
Yeah, make sure you warn people. Make sure you warn people, and I warn everybody.
Yeah,
I've had this happen too. I've had people come here, and I tell them when they're here, this is not what you're going to see and not what you're going to get everywhere else. Be extremely careful. Go into places. Do not let your kids be sticking their hands in with these dogs. They don't have all what I have. I mean, a lot of people that work with me, they got it, but you got to be careful and listen to what the people tell you. And some of these people are so dumb, these new people, they're not even going to tell them, oh, you don't let your kid put your hand in my kennel because it's going to maybe lose its arm. So, I always warn people. So you got to warn people too. Don't think this is what you're going to see everywhere. I've had people call me back a year later, 18 months later. Hey, I'm having a problem with my dog. It's really aggressive. It's just not like what I seen at your kennel. I expected that, and it's totally different. It's not stable like you explained. I'm like, well, I don't remember you. When did you get the puppy? Well, I ended up not getting it from you. I'm like, well, okay. Well, I mean, why are you calling me? Where'd you get it from? I'm like, well, you were here and you loved everything. Your children loved everything. Your husband loved everything. What did you buy it somewhere else for? I don't understand. What happened? Well, I mean, they were $500 cheaper. They were willing to take $500 off if we bought from them instead of you. I'm like, well, for $500 cheaper, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You have to call them, hope and pray they're going to replace it, because what you have is a mentally unstable dog that's not fixable. Is it fixable? Never fixable. Could you modify some of that shit? Like Whitney, you probably told people you probably modified some, but some you just got to tell them, put it down. Put it down. Somebody's going to get killed. So you can't fix that shit. So
I always tell people, I can't change the genetics of your dog.
Right, exactly.
Can't do it. Some dogs are worse than others, right?
Right, exactly.
Some dogs you can kind of tweak and modify a little bit. You're never going to fix it. I won't even use the word fix in my program. Exactly. And then other dogs, it's like lights out because you can't even get it safe enough.
Right.
So no amount of dog training. And I think that's what the average dog owner that's listening to this needs to hear.
All breeds.
And it's all breeds.
Right.
But when you're going and you're picking out that puppy and you're talking to breeders, that puppy that you bring home, that's what you get. Right. The genetics there in that puppy, that's what you get. Right. Now, training, that's what we do on top of the genetics, right? You got to tell the dog what to do. This is how you walk on a leash. This is how you sit when I tell you, or come when you're called, or kennel up, or whatever. That's dog training, and every dog needs that. The best dog in the world with the best genetics in the world needs dog training.
Absolutely.
But when you bring me a dog at 6 months old, 7 months old, I see it all the time. And I look at the dog, and like Tony said a little bit ago, that tail's pinned between their legs. And, Pam, I sent you a video. We won't name breeders or anything, but I got a Corso in from another breeder. And I sent you that video, and I said, right here, this is it. And you look at this dog, and you're like, the genetics on this dog is just total crap.
Right.
And you don't mean that the dog, you feel bad about, that's the dog. You feel bad for the family that got bamboozled.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And like, oh, that's a Corso. And then they come see me, and I'm like, well, here's the deal. I can't fix this.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And then the crazy thing is too, let me hit on a training issue too. So a lot of times I tell people also with the trainers, like people out there are going to trainers all over. There's trainers all over the place that tell these people they can train this and train that, and they'll take $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 off of them. And like what you do is you tell them, I can't fix this. It's not fixable. I'm not going to take your money and lie to you and lead you to believe I can fix this. Because I tell people you have to screen your trainers also, like yourself, Mike Caparici, other trainers that we would work with. Stan up in Canada, guy's incredible guy. He's been posting some stuff on the page. Guys like that, Steve, there's some good trainers that are straight. They're going to tell you how it is. Like I send people to Stan in Canada all the time, but he's outstanding and he's honest. Trainers out there are just as bad as some of these breeders, and I don't know if you've run across them, but you had to have, and I have, trust me. These breeders take $5,000, $3,000 off of somebody for 3 weeks of training. And then what they do after they take their money, I worked my ass off harder than I ever worked on any dog. I put more time into this dog than I've ever done. And I should have charged you $10,000. But because I really figured out that it's just in the genetics of your dog, it's not fixable. It's mentally, it's your breeder's fault. So I'm only to charge you the $5,000. They're scammers too. They knew, like you said, within the first 5 minutes of working with that dog, be around it, if it's a mental disaster or not. That fast. So do all these trainers worldwide. So that's another thing we can touch on and tell people and explain to everybody out there. Check out your trainers. Make sure they have a history. Make sure they've done some things. Make sure you see their work and make sure they're honest with you. A lot of veterinarians sometimes do the same shit. They let these people keep these dogs going just so they can keep pumping shots into them and crazy vet bills. Tell your people when you have an unstable dog, it should be put down. I respect the veterinarians that tell their clients, this dog needs put down. It's, it's 12 weeks old. This is going to be a disaster when it gets older. But some of them are so money hungry that they don't. Oh, you got to bring him with a muzzle. He's just a little tougher. You got to bring a dog to the vet with a muzzle because he's a little tougher. You got a dangerous dog. Why do you have a muzzle? It's going to bite for no reason. If a dog has to have a muzzle on it anywhere it goes, it's a dangerous dog. It's like taking a gun and putting it in your child's hand. Your 2-year-old kid walking around the store with him. It's a gun. It's a toy to him. He can pull it and fire at any time. Better have the safety on.
Right. And that goes back to kind of what the whole temperament thing is, and the misunderstanding of the breed is a lot of times those same trainers, those same vets will just say, well, you got yourself a Corso. That's just a Corso. Right. And then you have to deal with it. Where that's not really what it is. And that's kind of, again, why we're all here. Exactly. And that's not what Joe, that's not what you're breeding for. That's not what you're talking about when you talk a lot about all different breeds. You're all breed podcast.
Yeah. But if you notice too, Tony did too. It's kind of like an all breed thing. Because one thing I noticed is a lot of guys, the breeds they're in now, they might not even started with that breed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a unison, in unison thing across all breeds. But one thing I wanted to ask, if you don't mind, Miss Pam, when Tony's talking about temperament, when we have even epilepsy, with the Corso having so many divides, do you think it'll ever be a way we can sit down and look like, man, let's go through these pedigrees and let's start? Do you think we'll ever get there, Tony?
That's a great question.
You know what? Here's the crazy thing. I know majority of all the pedigrees where the epilepsy's at. I stay away from it. I stay clear. You can't give it to me for free. I don't ever want to breed into it. In truth, I accidentally just bred into one because I thought the breeder knew his lines and knew that he didn't import something with epilepsy. And then I had another breeder, my buddy, that sent me the pictures and stuff all the time, busting my balls. Hey, what the hell are you doing? I said, man, what are you talking about? I mean, that dude knows his shit. I mean, he told me it was clean. Send me the back pedigree a little further. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, you got to be kidding me. I said, I had no idea, man. I would have never done it. So, I talked to my buddy. I said, man, please let him go to pet homes because you have that risk. That risk is there. So shit happens. Do I think that people are going to clean up the epilepsy ever, come together? No, because there's too many breeders out there that are working with that stuff. And their attitude is, well, if it gets epilepsy, I'm going to replace it. I mean, I respect that part of it, but the problem is that you can't respect as a breeder, but you're knowingly putting that out there to other people and helping them start breeding programs off of this stuff. Why? Why don't you just switch it up, get away from that stuff that has it? I had people reach out to me many years ago and want to buy Nino semen, Nino frozen semen, offer me as much as $10,000 for it. Why do you want to pay so much for this? I don't even charge that much. I'm not selling what I got left anyway. It's for me. Why do you wait? it's the cleanup. Your line's the cleanup line. Your line can clean up anything. I said, well, we're not going to clean that shit up with my line.
Yeah, you're gonna, you just
Do it.
Yeah.
Once the dog comes out of your kennel or one of your dogs that has epilepsy, they're not talking about the bitch that it came from. They're talking about your stud dog. Your stud dog is the cause. I just recently had a lady in the last couple of days tell this good crazy. She's a breeder. I mean, if you go on her website, she has this big warning about other breeders with epilepsy, but she's clean. She has import lines with epilepsy, so it's a comical thing. She just told a big lie story that some post worker that she went to the post office and some lady had got a dog from me 20 something years ago that had epilepsy, and I didn't do anything for him and turned my back on him. I'm like, 20 something years ago, we didn't have epilepsy in this country. It wasn't here. The old American stuff didn't have it. That came from import stuff in the recent, 15 years or some shit. So for one, I've never had epilepsy in my entire life in 37 years. So you're telling a lie. And I don't remember some post woman. And if anybody got a dog from me with a problem, there's a ton of people that are on this page right now with us, because this is, what I love seeing is I love seeing all these people. I forget how many people I've sold dogs to that I made incredible happy families for.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing it now. I'm seeing it. I love it. Now I love this. I really love it. I'm seeing it all. It's enjoyable to see that. It makes me feel really good. I'm like, man, I did more than I thought I did. Yeah, a lot of people happy.
You're referring to the Facebook.
Everybody knows. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Facebook. Everybody knows if there was a problem with a dog from Tony Scandy, he's going to replace it immediately. He's not going to mess around. I'm going to replace shit that I shouldn't even replace, because that's the kind of name that I want.
I've seen that firsthand. I've seen you replace dogs, and I'm like, why are you replacing that dog? And you're like, because I feel
I want to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some people talk about, I'm real greedy. That's all about money. I don't care about it. I've given dogs away to people that I thought deserved a free dog. There's a woman that just posted a dog on the page, a picture with her son.
Yeah.
I followed her story and her son's story for his whole life. It's an incredible story, an incredible child. They were looking for a dog. I said, yeah, come on out. I'll pick the right one, bring your son out with you, pick the right dog. And they're like, yeah, no problem. Here's the money. I said, there's no money. You're not paying for that.
Love that.
Isn't it like $1,800 or $2,500? It's $0.
Mm-hmm.
What about the ear cup? You're not paying anything. Bring the dog out here, do the shots. I'm going to do it because I want to see how the dog's doing with your son and how everything's going. I've done that multiple times with other people too, in different situations. So, it's about where the dog's at. It's not always about money. I think I told the story about Renegade, an older dog that, I had. Joe, you remember Renegade? You got a daughter of Renegade, one of the top producing dogs in history in this breed. And I had several people that wanted to buy the dog. Would have gave me 10, 15, 20 grand. Another gentleman loved the dog. He had bred the dog probably about 6 times in the last couple of years. Every year he's out here, you know what I mean? Spending a ton of money on studying to this dog. He wanted the dog. I said, you know what, man, you can get the dog. He said, well, I don't have a ton saved, but I can afford a decent amount. I said, yeah. It's not going to be much. You're going to have enough, trust me. And, he's like, man, I need to know before I come out there. Well, what you're going to charge me? I says, $38.75. He said, what? He said, no, I don't want a puppy. I want Renegade, not one of his puppies. I know how much his puppies cost. $38.75. We're going to do where we could still call and I could use them when I need them for breeding. What you're going to sell me that dog for $3,875 that I know is a $10,000 to $20,000 dog? I said, absolutely. Here's what you told me. You told me, and I know I could trust you 100%. The dog's going in a family home with your daughter who just moved out on her own. She needs a protector. The dog's in an incredible home. I would have possibly gave it to him. I don't think he would have took the dog for free, but it's in an incredible home. So it's not always about money with people like me. Joe, I'm sure you have stories, and I know that you would do the same kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You've already helped people with training.
Yeah.
You cut things in half or next to nothing or nothing. Pam, I know you're the same type of person. That's why I'm on here with you guys.
Right. Yeah.
I feel these are all people that are similar-minded people that are genuine people, or I wouldn't be on here. There's a lot of non-genuine people that begged me and offered me money. I've seen right through their game. You know what I mean? So I hope this continues. I think it's going to be a great thing. Continuously, I think it's going to be an incredible thing. Any of the people that want to get on these things and ask questions, we can start doing these weekly or bi-weekly or whatever. Get a list of questions from people out there in the community, the questions they want answered, anybody. And I don't care even if anybody wanted to ever get on and do like a debate, like talk about debate with me.
You can comment below the video.
Nobody ever take me up on an offer yet, but I'd love to just go online and have a debate with some of these so-called experts. You know what I mean?
You should wear like your boxing gloves for that one.
Don't even.
That'll be great. Oh boy, you might have to clip this little section out, Pam.
No, I'm gonna highlight this one and make it a reel.
Yeah. You know why they don't want to do it? Here, Joe, you know why they don't want to do it. They would be embarrassed in less than 5 minutes. Their lack of breed education would be exposed in less than 5 minutes, and their scam and game would be exposed in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and it would be public. People would be able to see me.
It would be public. Yep. And that's why, Tony, I've talked to every major breeder in this country at one point. And one of the things we got to realize is, even though we kind of knock them, we make fun of these platforms, YouTube is the biggest search, the second biggest search engine in the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize all this.
Yeah.
Right.
So the same tools they use to put out the information, you're gonna have to start using too.
Yeah. No, it's time. It's time
to counter it. You know,
you guys got through to me. You guys got through to me. It's time.
I'm telling you, it's the second biggest search engine in the world.
It'll be with you guys. Yep. It's time.
Yep. So
YouTube, I think, gets more watch time than Netflix.
Yeah,
I believe that. I watch YouTube more than, like, if I'm gonna sit down, I watch YouTube, and I'm like Joe. If I get in the car and I drive someplace,
I don't listen to the radio. I don't watch TV.
Right.
I don't do any of that.
Yep, I want information. I want to learn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you another very positive thing about this that I love about this. I get 1 million calls every day, and I got to tell all this same stuff every day, multiple times. From now on, I'm just going to send them a link. Here's a link.
That was part of the goal. That was part of the goal, because when
now
I was
I could get some of my life back. You know, some of my life will come back that I can go do more with my kids and do more with the dogs. I get some of my life back. I can go to sleep sometimes at 11 o'clock at night, maybe, and get a full 8 hours instead of 3 or 4 hours, because somebody kept me on the phone till 3 or 4 in the morning, and I gave them their time because they were from West Coast. But when I was up till 4:30 in the morning last night. I had to get up at 7:30 to go to the vet. I said 3 hours. So, but that's my life. This is what I'm used to. This is going to be a great tool for that too.
But I tell you what, boy, y'all started the bar high, because once you get Tony on, that's what people had to realize. Like, it's hard for me to put a Corso guest on now. You know what I'm saying? I've had him and Mr. Bochy. I can't go down no more. You can't go back, or it's just
you peaked, Joe.
You're stuck. You're stuck.
That's your Corso guy.
Well, we can't have another dog podcast on now, because now we just had you. We can't put another person on here.
Right. No, there ain't no reason.
The bar is high.
Yeah,
we're saying.
The bar is high.
I love, Joe, that you are showcasing all of the good guys in all different breeds. I always tell my owners, either go get yourself a mutt, or if you want a breed of your choice, I don't care what it is, golden retriever, Bernese Mountain Dog, Brittany Spaniel, whatever, then go find the best in the game. But you go buy from a backyard breeder and you're asking for a lot of trouble. Right. And I love that you're showcasing a lot of these good guys.
I've been trying to go with more experience, but I do have a lot of renegades. Been a lot of renegades on my show. Some people might.
It's all right.
Somebody might think Tony's a renegade. You know what I mean? I don't know. But the thing about it is, hearing these people talk, learning from them. Some of them ain't always right. Some of them you can learn what not to do listening.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
You be listening and you be like, oh, that's full of shit. You know.
So true. True.
But at least you get to listen, and then I get corrected. I'm learning on the spot. I don't know everything about every breed, and then you're dealing with all these people attitudes, and you talk about temperament. You got to have a hell of a temperament to do these type shows.
Sure.
Comments start coming.
Hey, listen,
Joe, you big bald head, ugly, and you sitting there live like.
Hey Joe, you're doing an absolute incredible job, Joe. Like, the job you're doing is incredible. Or I would
fun. I appreciate
not have been on, man.
And you're just bringing attention and light too. I mean, because everybody has their space, right? Everybody at least are dog enthusiasts. Maybe they're first time breeders, and they get to learn from you and Tony, and everybody starts somewhere. So I think you're providing a lot of that, good, solid places to go, and and just as a whole community, because nobody would be anywhere if it wasn't for the people that wanted to see the information.
That's right. And Pam, y'all got to come on because the cross pollination is how it works. You get to see my audience, get to know who you are. I don't care. I'm not trying to hog it for myself. I retire if somebody could take my place.
The internet's a big place. We all want to just help people.
That's
we
right.
want to help.
That's
we want to
right.
help average dog owners or breeders starting out, people that are genuine, want to do the right thing. People who got a dog from a breeder that screwed them over, and now they're like, now I want help, or I need help, or direction. We want to be those people.
We just all people at the end of the day, and I've seen a lot of connections happen on my show where, man, dude, stay near me. Now we training together, and it's a lot of resources out that if we start talking more, we can meet each other more.
Right. A lot of positive
out of it. Yeah, like YouTube, it has this disadvantage, but on Facebook too, we got a lot of crazy people in our group. Just cap off, say anything just to start it.
Right.
Like, man, why was that even necessary? It was a lie. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of witch hunting going on. They really don't care about the dogs. They care about themselves. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And what do we say, Whitney? The biggest flex is to just be unbothered.
Yep.
Exactly.
That's it. And provide what we can. Well, you guys, it was a great conversation. I know we took a lot of your time, Joe. Tony, I know you're always really busy here.
I'm gonna make you laugh. I got my phone alarm set. That's how I do my days. I got it set. It's 12:17. I got it set for 12:20. At 12:20, I got to fly to the vet to pick up my dog.
Well, Joe, again, it's been great. You are welcome on here anytime, because the conversation just flows, and there's lots of different ways we could talk about, lots of different things we could talk about in Whitney, training aspect, and of course, Tony leading the way. So don't forget, you guys, to like and subscribe. Head on over to NWA Cane Corso as well, and say hello, subscribe there. You guys have any goodbye words for this episode?
Podcasting, Joe. Is it NWA Cane Corso podcast?
Yeah, it's the same as the kennel name.
Okay.
We should be able to link it too, right?
Yep. I'll link everything up for everybody if they want to just click there. And Facebook and Instagram and all the things. We're getting Tony Scandy out there. Yeah. All right, you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
All right.
Until next time. Thanks.
Yes.
All right.